Hi family, welcome back to my channel, a space where we are just trying to learn new habits so that we can explore all our full potential in pursuit of dying empty. Today we're on the lighter side. I just want to talk about books that have had a long impact in my life personally. So I read quite a relatively, I wouldn't say a lot, but yeah, previously I used to read a lot, but now not so much. And books play such an important role because most of the lessons that I get are in books. Obviously now life is easier because we have podcasts, especially long form podcasts with good interviewers. Oof, those I are my binge now. We have like well researched articles when you wanna delve into a topic, so that's good. But there are books for me that I read a while back, but to this day I still know that whatever change that I'm seeing in my life or how I operate is mainly because of the message that I got from that book. But hey, before I rumble any further, the first book is Michelle Obama's Becoming. This book, probably almost everyone read this book. If you haven't, where have you been, person? Go get the book. So this book was nicely written. She structured the book in three phases where the first one was becoming me, the second one was becoming us, and the third one was becoming more. All the three main sections were good and you would get something from it. But two core things that I got from the book was one, just the importance of living with intention. So being clear about your intention so that even when you operate, you know when you are being swayed out of whatever your initial intention is, or even when you act, you are clear then as to how you want to show up in the world. That is something I got from this book. And afterward, you know how where when you learn a concept and afterward you realize probably most people always knew it. So for me it was one of those. It was like, oh wow, most people I think knew it, or even how you look at how they acted, they might not have used the same words but they have been operating with that. So this book helped me, like it helped me a lot. And even now where I sense quite early on when I'm not operating based on what I had initially intended to do, or when my actions are not aligned with what I intend to live in this world, or just in the space that I'm in. So it's a great book. The other thing that she talks about was, I guess it's part of why she named the book Becoming, was how growing up you always ask, what do you want to become when you get older? And that question, like obviously that question, she says it's silly because you are a lot of things even when you get older. It doesn't mean when you say, for me for example, I wanted to be a CA so bad that that would be the end of it. That also be other things. So probably and it was right, I guess, for this era where you are seeing people wearing such a lot of hats and being comfortable in having a lot of hats. We no longer are now where you are, no, you are an accountant and that's it. A lot of people actually wear lots of hats, so that was good. There's a third thing. The third thing was, she was talking about how when they were growing up, their parents treated them as adults, where they allowed them to make decisions even when they're kids, as long as they understood the consequences. I think that's such an important principle to instill in your kids, because remember, yes, we are raising kids, but it's people that we are raising future grown-ups, and you want those grown-ups to be independent in their thinking and understanding that actions have consequences, but more importantly in being able to make their own decisions. Because sometimes that's why we find some grown-ups are just always going to mama for anything and are not able to just make decisions by themselves, because a lot of it comes from they were not allowed to make decisions for the longest of time. And a person turns 18 or 20 and now all of a sudden you expect them to know how to do that. So I thought that's such a good way to like raise a child, and that's something I'm trying to apply Obviously, he's still small, so you do it cautiously, but I pray God helps me to actually be able to apply that. The second book that has had a lasting impact in my life, I read this book so long ago, but I still think about it. I think my sister bought this book, and after she read it, she also said I must read it. I guess just as most things in our lives, where if I find something good, I tell her, and vice versa. So the name of the book is The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. So the book is written almost like a Shakespeare thing, or the King James Bible, where it's like a thy type of language English. However, once you get over that English and you read it, it's actually a simple read. I remember I finished the book quite quickly, and it has a lot of valuable things. So the core of the book is really, it says money is plentiful for those who understand the simple rules of its acquisition. And honestly, as I get older, I believe this more, where you see people that have tend to have more of it, and the people that don't have stay sort of in that space. But also there are those outliers that are able to scrape out of the not having into the having, which means um it can't be if once you understand it, it can actually do so much for you. I think the part I liked was the increase their ability to earn. I like money, guys, so obviously that would be the part that I like the most. But the point that obviously he was making in that section per se was, yes, obviously, as straightforward as it is, increase your ability to earn, especially if you believe you are not earning whatever you want to earn for you to thrive in life, not just survive, but thrive in life. But he makes the point around that when you decide how much you want to earn, like, don't just say, I want to be rich. So he says, like, statements like those don't move anything, don't move the dial in any way. But you saying, for example, in 5 years' time, I wanna be having 500K as as money that is belonging to me per se. So that is clearer, because then you know, and you can work backwards to say, how do I then get the 500K? That firstly shows you, is what you're saying realistic or not? And if it's not realistic, what are you doing to actually make sure it happens? Or are you adjusting the amount because you believe it's not realistic? And it's trackable. So immediately when you can measure something, it honestly becomes easier for you to, not easier to achieve per se, but because you are clear on what you're chasing. So that I thought was good. There are many more gems in this book. I think Pindi got it for, okay, I'm lying, I thought it was 50 rands. But I do think she got it for 50 rands because it was on sale. It was one of those sales that exclusive books sometimes does. But the gems that are in this book, it was written a long time ago, I believe, but it is still has a lot. And I would recommend, if you haven't read the book, read the book. It has the foundational things about personal finance that will definitely help you. So the third book that is important in my life, and I still go to it more often than any other book, really, is the Bible. You know, obviously, I'm not gonna leave out the Bible because I'm a Christian. And it's one of the foundational things that you need if you call yourself a Christian. My pastor, I think late high school, when I was still staying with my grandparents, late high school or just after I finished matric, it was Tembam Sai, and he said something that stuck with me even to this day, where he said, and he was my pastor at the time, so he said, if the only time you are reading the Bible is when you are in church, then you are praising my God. By my God, he meant himself, obviously, because that means you are looking at God through his lenses and not your own lenses. That stuck with me, hey? It stuck with me because remember, Christianity is about relationship. And if I'm in a relationship with anyone, the foundation of any relationship is communication. So if I call myself a Christian, but I actually don't talk to him or know how to interact with him fully, or I rely on a pastor to do it, or do it only when I'm in his presence, then really that relationship is not going to grow. I will not lie and say immediately when I got that message, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go read the Bible every day. It took a while. It took a while for me to get into it. And sometimes when you read it, you're like, no, I do not understand what is being said. But I also bought this. It's a thick book. It's Unlocking the Bible. So this also helped me to understand the Bible better. So the Unlocking the Bible is written in chapters where it sort of sets the scene for you to say, the person who wrote this, for example, is Luke, and Luke was a doctor. What was Luke's background? It helps you understand, because sometimes, I don't know if this happens just to me, where you read it and you're like, I don't know what they're saying, or yeah, so it helps you have context. But the other thing for me that helps me understand the Bible better is reading it in chapters. I don't just read a verse and move with it. I need the full context of it. So I'll read, if I'm reading John, I'll read all of John. Yes, I'll read first John first, then whatever. Or if I'm focusing on a topic, for example, if I'm focusing on blessing, I will look for, like at the back of a Bible, there's always where they'll show you where the word came out more. So I look for that from the background and try to read it in that sense, or just also Google to see what else is there. So this book, I still go to it, and right now I actually enjoy it. Previously I wasn't enjoying the Old Testament much, but right now I actually realize that you see more of God's word or ways in the New Testament by reading about some of the people that were there. So I really enjoy it now. And then last but not least, it's this book here, The Latte Factor. I've probably talked about this book in one of my episodes, but that's how much I love it. So this book is also a personal finance book, and it's written in like a parable. So I think I actually like personal finance books that are written in parable, because even The Richest Man in Babylon is sort of a parable like book. This book is so nice, it's simple to read, it's so cool and relatable, especially if you're like a millennial or a Gen Z or anything that comes after Gen Z. I don't know what that is. It is so good. And it's so basically, this book is about making you understand, helping you to just go deeper in yourself in terms of understanding actually what are my values as a person, and am I spending according to those values? Because that can help you then have a rich life. Because a rich life is not necessarily, you being wealthy. Obviously, when your basic needs are not met, it's hard to even have a conversation about a rich life is not this, it's not that. But after like your basic needs are met, what is a rich life for you? Because sometimes the more you consume does not necessarily mean the more happy you are. And when you're not aware, you get lifestyle creep. It happens, or like for every increase that you get at work or in any other avenue that you use to increase your money, it can creep up on you. So just understanding how to actually spend according to your values, and keeping yourself accountable, by constantly then going back to say, okay, last month I spent this, how much of it went according to my values, and how much of it went according to I saw someone had it on social media and I thought I must also do it, type of thing. So it really did that. So thank you so much for watching up until this far. There are many more books that I have read that gave me something here and there, but I just thought I want to talk about these four, because these are the four that I read and I continue to read a long time ago, but even to this day I'll still say I do this because of that book. So if you like this type of content, please like this video and share and subscribe if you're not yet subscribed. And please tell me, what are the books for you that have actually had a huge impact on you. Until next time.